The Joe Rogan Experience.
See, like, if you're booing a basketball game, maybe, I guess. Like, there's something that's so much more intense about a fight, especially, like, there's smart boos, like when someone does something illegal, or someone does something cheap or weak. Yeah, or something. Someone does something that's fucked up. There's smart boos. But then there's boos where guys were just like facing each other and they're canceling each other out. Like, you're watching a really high level thing where these guys are trying to solve what do I have to do to connect on this guy's fucking brainstem and knock his lights out?
But
like, what do I have to
the
do?
UFC is marketing toward these casual fans who are basketball fans and football fans, who aren't really the people who are hardcores, who appreciate the martial arts side of it, what these guys are putting into it.
You think so? I think they're just marketing. I don't think they're marketing towards any specific fan. They're not marketing towards people who don't understand it.
But I think that's almost the same thing, because they're just trying to get a mass audience, and the majority of people aren't people who really understand.
They want to educate people.
What makes you say that, though? What makes you say they're trying? Like, what are they doing specifically?
What I feel like when they put together, you know, fights that don't necessarily make sense in terms of rankings, when they put the interim belts on fights where don't really need to be there, you just know it's a marketing move, because I think a title on a poster will probably sell that many more tickets.
That's a good point. It definitely juices it up when you have an interim title. That's
some
a good
dudes,
point.
like marketing dudes, going like, "Oh yeah, we sell this many more pay-per-views when there's a title." And
but you know what?
They don't know the difference between an interim title or a regular title. A lot of the casuals don't know the difference between Michael Bisping or fucking George St. Pierre.
Look, I'm with you.
They're just at a bar.
I almost feel conflicted, because I have this part of me that's like a purist. That's like, no, it should be just like whoever #1 is versus the champion, and we should never fuck around.
That's how it was going
then, at
for
the
a
same
while.
time, if they were just like, oh, you know what, we just set up Nick Diaz versus Conor McGregor, I'd be like, that's the greatest thing that's ever happened, and I don't care. I don't care about anybody else. I don't care if Khabib's won 72 fights in a row.
I don't care if it's in Antarctica. I'm flying out.
I'll watch Brock Lesnar fight 100 out of 100 times. I don't give a fuck where he's fighting, who he's fighting. It's just fun and it's exciting. But let's get real. I think there was something really pure, and what's beautiful about MMA is that it's always going to kind of figure itself out. It is the greatest sport because it's the greatest sport. Anything could happen any given Sunday. It's inherently built. The marketing is sort of built in already, right? So you can create a pecking order, you can create rankings, and I think you can kind of just say, hey, the pieces are going to fall where they're going to fall, and it's always going to be super exciting. And you see with the way they handle Conor or certain guys, they threw that to the side. And I think Conor's a great example of it as well, why they don't really care. They're like, all right, fuck it, dude. Go do Mayweather. They had it for a little while.
Well, they were part of the promotion.
Yeah,
they made hundreds of
money,
millions of dollars off that thing. Everybody made a fuckload of money. I mean, Mayweather made hundreds of millions. Conor made 100 million. I don't know what the UFC made. Everybody got fucking crazy paid. And then they started Zuffa boxing, and now they're offering Anthony Joshua. They're offering
500 million.
Some crazy contract, apparently. That might be bullshit. I don't know. I haven't asked anybody if that's real. But I'm not surprised. They realize there's a lot of money in promoting fights, whether it's promoting MMA.
Yeah.
Dana has a big background in boxing. You know, his son actually just had an amateur boxing fight.
I saw that on his Instagram.
Yeah,
that kid's got a great
boxing.
life. Fuck.
Dana loves boxing. He's always loved it. So it's not unusual that they decide to go into it. But with Conor, it was like one of those things where you're like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. If Mayweather really wants to fight Conor, and Conor's never had a professional fight, and he can make $100 million, let's see. Let's see who buys it.
But I'm just saying, as an MMA purist, what's best for the sport of MMA, that's not necessarily the best move. And
it's not a bad move. It doesn't hurt it at all. Because first of all, it shows you that in the specialties, that there are people that have skills and techniques and abilities that just far exceed the very best MMA fighters. And you saw that with Conor and Floyd. Floyd just fucked him up. He just fucked him up. But Conor caught him a little bit. And he tagged him in the beginning. And you could say that Floyd wasn't going full tilt, and he probably wasn't. I would say definitely wasn't. He was definitely trying to wear him out and get him tired, because he knew that he relied on kinetic energy for the first round or two. But he still got clipped with a shot he did want to get clipped with.
Sure. You know? I think Floyd wanted to see what Conor was doing, and he had spent the first few rounds like kind of taking in data and like seeing like, okay, what are you doing here? What weird shit are you trying? But still, I did not think Conor was going to do that good. I thought it would be over within 3 or 4 rounds, and Mayweather would knock him out, and he would just outclass him. And the fact that it went 10 and that he even landed some shots, I was pretty impressed with that.
It's not the fight itself that's like, it's not bad for as a purist. I'm saying it's almost like it's the way they're sort of letting Conor run the show. I just kind of feel like the UFC sort of always built this brand. UFC, it's the Coca-Cola of MMA, and I feel like Conor has basically become bigger, or at the very least as big as the UFC. And he doesn't, dude. He doesn't give a shit. He tweeted out the other day, "I'm the boss," when he was promoting the video game. Like they did a promo with Dana White as one of the characters. But I just feel like that wasn't necessarily the best thing for mixed martial arts as a sport. I almost feel like what they were doing with
doesn't hurt it at all.
Yeah, maybe
I
not.
think it made it bigger. I mean, it's like, dude, what Conor created was like a thing that's like,
it's just him.
Really hard, dude. Even when he fought Marcus Brimage as his first fight in the UFC, and I remember already there was like an energy in the crowd about Conor fighting.
Huge
and I didn't
favorite.
even know who this guy was. And you're like, why is this like such a big thing? And then every fight was just a bigger and bigger and bigger thing. And then he would create this thing where like Dustin Poirier's like biggest fight ever is against Conor McGregor, and Dustin had way more big fights than him. But still, the big deal was that you're fighting this guy. Like he would create these stages.
It was not just that; it was the results. Like he put Marcus Brimage to sleep. He starched Dustin Poirier in the first round. Slept Jose Aldo in 13 seconds.
Crazy.
It was all real accomplishments. That was why him fighting Floyd Mayweather was interesting, because he was so exceptional as a striker.
But do you think that I give the UFC so much credit with building Conor McGregor, because he wouldn't have been able to do that anywhere else. Like the UFC is such a big brand that he couldn't have been a Bellator fighter and become a worldwide name the way he is now.
Probably not. Which is weird. Bellator's a stupid name. They need to accept that.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
They need to accept that.